What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the pedal assembly for the manual swap. Whether you're actually buying a swap or if you just are piecing yours together, it's a good idea to take a look at all the parts on it, make sure that you actually do have everything you need for the swap. So we're going to take a quick look at all the components that goes into the whole pedal assembly system, and we're basically just going to take it apart. And for those of you guys who are piecing together your swap, I'm going to show you guys how it all goes together. So basically these are all the tools we're going to need. We're going to need a flathead screwdriver. We got a 10 mil and a 3/8 driver here. Flathead really comes in handy. We're going to be doing a lot of little clips that do need them. If you're taking it off, if you're putting it on, you can really just put them on by hand. And then two of the bolts on here are 10 millimeters, so I do have a 3/8 driver and a 10 millimeter socket there for you guys. With the pedal assembly, you have this main bracket here. This is the bracket that bolts to the firewall, and it basically holds all the pedals on. So this part is exactly the same for the manuals and the automatics. So this whole clutch side is just missing. It has the stud to hold the pedal, it just doesn't have the clutch side. So basically, if you pull your automatic pedal assembly out, this is in a nutshell what it's going to look like. So it has the stud for the clutch side, but it won't have it. The only difference is it's going to have an automatic brake pedal instead of a manual one. And if you're piecing your pedal assembly together, you can actually reuse that. Now, the brake pedal is actually different. So not so much in the way that it works or how it works, it's just it has a littler foot pedal. So the automatic one's is probably like that wide, the manual one's actually a little bit shorter. And so this guy just has a little clip here. Pull that clip off, the pedal will slide right off. We have our pedal bushings here, and once those are on, it just sort of goes back together, and the clip goes back on, and that's basically done. So if you're going to assemble it, it's really not that hard. There are some other components that go with it. It's got like a little bracket here that'll push against the brake light switch, and it's got a clip on that, and it's got a little spring that runs to that too. But because we're going to use that from the automatic, I don't really count it as a part needed for the manual swap because it's already in the car and we're going to reuse it. So for now, this is really all we're going to need for the manual swap. Now the clutch side is a little bit more fun. There's a whole lot going on here. So we have the pedal itself, we have this return spring assembly here, we've got the master cylinder. We're just going to get it all taken apart here. There we go. So this part's going to be a little bit more for my guys who are assembling their pedal assembly, more than it is for just my guys who are buying a swap. But still good to double check you have all your parts. And also if you're going to be replacing parts like these little pedal bushings, it can be pretty useful to know how it goes all back together. First off, we have the actual pedal itself. Got these two little nice clutch bushings here, and so those are going to pop in on either side. The other one's right here. So we're going to slide that over that guy, and we have a clip that'll hold them into place. So next on the list we have our spring assembly. So this is the actual spring that returns the pedal back to its original position when you pull the clutch out. So that consists of the big spring. It's got two little pins, a smaller one and a kind of longer one, a rotating clip, and then it's got these two little sliders. Now these two little sliders, they're exactly the same part number, and the spring is basically going to sit between them like this. We're going to want to make sure to get those guys lined up properly, and it doesn't really matter if it goes in this way or this way. And we're going to take our smaller pin. Now this guy has two little sides on it that are a little bit smaller than the middle, and so they're going to sit right in the pedal assembly like that. So we're going to take one of these little sliders, stick it through like that, and the pin is going to go fit right through it. And then our clip is going to go on the end of that. Alright, now the spring goes over, and then this other guy just slides on the bottom like that. And then we have our little pin that goes through, and then that guy is going to sit right in its little hole. Now, there's really nothing right now that's holding it, preventing it from going out, but when the master cylinder is on, it'll hold it in place. So we're going to get that in there, and we're going to compress it. He's basically just going to hang out like that for now. So moving on to our master cylinder. So this guy is actually going to bolt onto it like that. On the brake side, there's a little hole that's actually bigger than this side, so the pin can really go in only one way. We're going to take the little plastic end, and we're going to put the pin through that. And then our clip's going to go on top of that. There we go, and that guy can just sort of hang out for now. Alright, so now we got our master on. There's a couple things to note. the bolts are actually different lengths. So the longer bolt is going to go through that guy, and the shorter bolt is going to go through that guy. There we go. But if you're going to be running a clutch switch, you're going to want to put this guy on first, sort of like that. And the clutch switch is kind of a pain to get on, but it's not too bad. So we're going to take our shorter bolt, run it through there, and that bolt will stick through right there on the back of the pedal housing. Now we have a little nut that goes on here, and that nut sort of gets held in on the little indent on that pedal assembly, so you can't really thread him in, but you can push the bolt back out onto that side, so he's sort of sticking out a little bit, and then tighten him from there. And we're only going to get him hand tight for now, but once that bolt is on, this pedal won't be able to come out anymore because the master is holding it in position. So now we can pull that pedal assembly out. Now this guy is going to swing up, and our longer bolt is going to go right through the whole thing. So now we're on this side, so now we have our brake switch. And this guy is going to sort of clip in like that. Again, you're going to have to thread the bolt in from that side to hold it in place. Get that guy all nice and tight. And we're going to tighten this guy up too. And once those guys are nice and tight, that's it. Basically the whole clutch side pedal assembly is back together. For those of you who are assembling the pedal assembly just from scratch, from buying new parts, it's really not that hard to put this together. And for those of you guys who actually did buy a manual swap kit, or just bought the whole pedal assembly complete, it's good to make sure that you have all of the parts and all the clips that hold this thing together. This is basically how it all goes together. I will be replacing the master cylinder, and I will be replacing this clutch line, so I'm going to have to rip this thing apart again to put new parts on it. But basically I just wanted to make a video for you guys who are piecing your swap together, basically to show you guys this is how it all goes together, so you don't have to really spend time figuring it out. I'll go over this in another video, but this is one of the parts that I do recommend, highly recommend that you do replace. So to replace this, you can't really replace it in the car, so you're gonna have to pull the whole pedal assembly out if you want to replace it. So while it's out, before you even put it in, I would just throw a new one in. So that is the whole pedal assembly. So basically from here, this guy is going to go plug into the brake reservoir up by the brake booster, and then your big hardline clutch line will go in on the back of that guy. And that's basically how it operates the clutch. It's basically just a piston that pushes fluid downstream and to operate the clutch. So thank you guys so much for watching. Keep it fresh, and I will see you guys later.